The weight of us. Some days, the world felt like it was made of wet clay, heavy, gray, and impossible to mold. For Alara, the air itself was a thick blanket that pressed against her chest, making even the simplest breath feel like a marathon. She lived in a house of shifting shadows, where the floors often turned to water, leaving her grasping for something solid that wasn't there. Soren never asked her to just stand up. He understood that some tides were too strong to swim against. When the shadows grew long, he would simply sit on the floor beside her, his presence a quiet anchor in her turbulent sea. He didn't bring solutions. He brought himself, which was the only thing Alara really needed. But Alara's mind was a fickle weather system. One moment she was submerged in silence, and the next she was a whirlwind of frantic energy, trying to outrun a storm that only she could hear. She would pace the halls until her feet were sore, her thoughts a tangled nest of not enough and too much. Soren had his own weights to carry, though he carried them differently. His life was a series of ticking clocks and fraying wires, a constant pressure to keep everything functioning, while his own heart felt like it was made of glass. There were days when his smile felt heavy, a mask crafted from the same clay as Alara's shadows. On the hardest nights, they found a middle ground in the silence. They would lean against each other, two puzzles with missing pieces, trying to form a single whole picture. They didn't need to explain the heaviness. They simply acknowledged that the weight was shared. Alara tried, with everything she had, to find the light for him. On her better days, she would gather small moments like wildflowers, a joke, a favorite snack, a hand held a little tighter. These were her offerings, her way of saying, I see you fighting for me, and I am fighting for you too. Soren's support wasn't a straight line. It was a circle that always led back to her. Even when he was tired, even when his own wires were buzzing with static, he chose to be the soft place for her to land. He never made her feel like a burden, even when she felt like she was made of lead. Then came the day the floor disappeared entirely. Alara sank into a depth where words couldn't reach, a place where the clay was cold and the shadows were absolute. She felt like a ghost in her own skin, watching Soren from a distance she couldn't bridge. Soren didn't try to pull her out. He knew he couldn't. Instead, he brought a lamp and a book, and he sat in the dark with her. He let his own weariness show for once, letting her see that it was okay to be tired, okay to be broken, and okay to just exist until the tide turned again. The world didn't stop being heavy, and the clay didn't stop being gray. But as they walked forward, hand in hand, the weight felt manageable. They weren't waiting for a happily ever after where the shadows vanished. They were building a life in the beautiful, messy space between the light and the dark.